Market. Man, we're seeing some red. We're seeing some bouncing. Is the worst over, or is max pain coming, washing us out down to maybe $77,000? Are we going to find a floor somewhere around $87,000? What is happening in this market? We got some key targets, key signals that we're going to be looking at today. We really got to pay attention to this. We do not want to mess this up. And if you're following along here, we're going to help keep you on the right side of the trend. Everybody, let's hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. I'm doing my part right now, just getting this retweeted over on the BitLab Academy page at Academy BitLab. This is live streaming on YouTube and on the at Kelly Kellam Twitter page and at Academy BitLab Twitter page. So everybody do your part, hit that retweet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's go ahead and get into this. I'm just doing all the posts right now. Takes me a second, and we're going to kick into this as we go. Everybody, if you are here, if you're alive, if you're well, if you have health, if you are breathing, if your fingers work, type something in the live chat. Let's do a roll call right now. Let me know. Everybody say one word, bull or bear. How do you think this week is going to end? Do you think we're going to end below this price? Do you think we're going to end above? So bull or bear, type it in. Let's get it off. I got a bunch of giveaways that I'm mailing off today. I've got a little backlog there, so I'm going to do it all in one trip. So everybody that's won, keep your eyes out for that, and let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We should be excited about what's happening in the market right now, and it feels frustrating to some that have not been following along, but we've been keeping you in the know here, and we're sitting on the edge of a cliff when we look at what's going on in the market. For those of you, if you've been paying attention, I shared on the BitLab page. If we come right here, if you have subscribed, make sure it says subscribe, make sure your notifications are on. I did do another jumpstart TA video this morning at about 8:30. And if you had your notifications on, whether you are a member or not, you would have gotten a notification. You would have seen it. Of course, if you are a member, you would have got a double notification. I already removed the public access. It was only up for about 5 minutes. Great reason for you guys to have your notifications turned on and make sure you are subscribed. But when we look at what's happening in the market right now, just notice this. We've got this massive sort of falling wedge that has formed here that has just kind of been oscillating. And look at this, the wick down below this. It's about a almost a $2,000 wick to the downside, and came right back up inside of this. Does this mean we've bounced? Does this mean we're going up? We're going to be diving into this. We're going to talk about what this might mean, where price action could go, and making sure that we can stay on the right side of this, because the others chart also, this is all those altcoins that all of us are holding, broke out of this, came down, tested this, came back up right into the lows. See this bar here where all these bounce, rejection, bounce, 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 bounce. And look at this. We bounced right up into this and actually rejected at it, came right back down to this previous resistance line, now acting as support. And as this is a very sharp angle to the downside, it means that even though we're bouncing on this support line, it does suggest that if we bounce up into these lows now, essentially right about right here, which is where we bounced to, if we cannot get back through this, we may be coming down and just, bouncing down further on the alts. But if you're paying attention, that means that we have opportunity that may be presenting lower. I'm going to be stacking in about $4,000 into this market later on this week. So when you have money that you have on the sidelines, there's targets you're looking for, when you see the price action moving to the downside, it actually gets exciting. If you don't have dry powder that you're able to push in, maybe it's a little more frustrating because you have to be a little bit more patient. But nothing in life is easy. And if patience is your biggest problem, then life isn't that bad. Sometimes maybe you have to wait to the end of January. Maybe you have to wait to the middle of February. But I still am very bullish on what's happening in this market in terms of Q1, where this price action could be going. So everybody, as you roll in here, let's just stay positive, because when we're looking at everything in the market, I mean, nothing significant has changed. We're still over $3 trillion market cap for all of crypto at 3.2. Bitcoin sitting here at 1.8, 364 for billion for Ethereum. XRP, actually, look at this on 7-day. Look at these massive downside, flat. Obviously, that should be flat. Downside, massive downside on Solana. Pretty damn large downside on Dogecoin. Cardano also 15%, 18% down on Tron. Avalanche, 22% down. So when we look at this and we go to 24-hour, Go just like, what? Let's go 7 days, actually, sorry. And we can, AI 16Z, for those of you, even myself included, who have felt like, man, I missed that boat. Well, now look at this. It's down 56%, which means when we're looking at this price action and we look at this over the last, let's say, month, look at how high this went, all the way up here, 247. It ran away. It's back at $1. It's down $1.50 from near $1.50 from this high back at the January 2nd, coming all the way down here to 89 cents, now sitting here at about $1. I'm very heavily considering, even though I want to stack into some other coins, strengthen some positions in my portfolio. This is one of those coins that I'm like, I want to get some exposure to this part of the AI market. So, guys, we got to take advantage when the market is giving it to us. Despite all the FUD, despite the the open interest, the funding rates in the market, the funding rate, when it's positive, it means the majority are going leverage long, people that are in the leverage market. When you see the funding rate flip negative, which is flip negative, it means the majority is going short. If the majority are going short, is Max Payne down to 77? Or is Max Payne actually bouncing from here right now when everybody's flipping bearish? That's what you need to realize in the market. If Max Payne for you is it going down, maybe you're over allocated or you're not patient. In reality, I think Max Payne right now would be the market reversing and leaving people behind. But the question's going to be, who gives a crap about what your bias or what your desire or what your idea of Max Payne is? What does the data say? So let's look into this. Let's see what is going on in this market, because look at this. We got that big washout. This is from Matthew Highland. Big washout here. Came right back up above this. Wick below support, but currently still reclaimed. The question is going to be what happens if we not just have a wick, but if we start closing hourly, not 5 minute, not 15 minutes, start closing hourly or 4 hourly candles below this, especially if we come down with a candle closure. Candle closure means you see the wick. This means during this candle being open, the candle wick down below this and came back up. The candle's still open. The candle closure is the thicker body, this thick body, not these little wicks. This candle opened here, came down to here, but then it went all the way up to here and came back down. The candle closed right here. It's a bullish candle. So it opens at the bottom, closes at the top. Bearish candle, this opened here, went up a little bit, and then fell all the way down here. You see a little wick there, came back up. That's where the candle closed. Candle opened here, went all the way up. While this candle is open, up to here, came all the way down to here and ended up closing right here. The candle closure has not happened below this key support line. So this is bullish. It's a bullish possibility, rather, I should say. Is this going to be a washout? Well, this is what everybody feels like right now. Here's a little bit of humor. This is what everybody feels like right now. Let's be honest.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a crypto investor.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Get in your Ferrari. Oh, no. Getting on the tricycle. This is what it's feeling like right now. You know, only, about 3 weeks ago, everybody was super excited, super bullish because the price action pushed all the way up here. Almost a month ago now, damn. When we pushed up to 108, has it been that quick? You realize how fast this market moves when you zoom out a little bit. A month ago, minus 4 days. 3 days, 4 days. A month ago, the price was at 108 and it felt like we were going to go to 250 by the end of March. And then look at this. Oh my God, it's over. When you look at this, the price is still regionally in this level. The problem right now that is really worrying everybody is the roundingness of this. This looks also the sort of head and shoulders that we've talked about a lot here. And I have outlined on this channel time and time again that when we're in a bullish market, although this is a potential reversal pattern, I think more likely than not, we will get some sort of washout down that will come up and do something like this. The question's going to be, when is this going to happen? What's going to be the composition of the market when this happens? Is it going to be the inauguration that's 7 days away? 1 week away from today, we have the inauguration of the most crypto-focused, crypto-friendly administration. The question and the uncertainty around that is within the crypto market specifically, not the broader investments landscape. The question is going to be, is there actually positive movement that happens or is telegraphed that will happen even anytime in 2025? Because we see how slow the government moves. What sort of executive orders happen in the first, even I won't even say the first day, within the first week? Does Ross Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road, who's been, life in prison, who has said his, that's where all those, all that almost 70,000 Bitcoin confiscated from Silk Road. That's that 6.5 billion that everybody's worried the government's going to sell. But is that even going to be, if his sentence is commuted and he gets out of prison, is that just a nice feel good thing, or is that going to be bullish for the market? There's no way to know. Is there going to be any sort of executive order about not selling the 180, 190,000 Bitcoin that the US does hold right now from confiscations? Is that going to be the start of the Bitcoin reserve, or is there going to be some sort of indication that there's going to be any buying at all from the US in 2025? And if either of those things happen, then the next question is there any sort of acceleration in what happens globally with the sort of Bitcoin strategic arms race to stack into Bitcoin reserves? Because when we look at the market and we see this is a real possibility. Everybody says, oh, not everybody. A lot of people are seeing this, especially analysts, especially newer people in the market that are scared. If this would be the perfect trap to come back up and then just launch. Yeah, I've told you it's going down. Okay, let me eat your lunch. Because unfortunately, the people that are going to sell, the smart people on this breakdown, on this right here, this is where they would have sold. Unfortunately, the majority of people will sell in an area about right here, only to get reversed to buy much higher. My role right now for myself, my strategy, and you have to determine what yours is any price and where we're at in this zone, any level lower for me is a better and better entry. So anything in here, anything, even where we're at now, sub $100,000, I think of as a dream buy. Now we get a little bit better dream, a little bit better dream, a little bit better dream. Once we get into this area right here, this gets scary because there's no volume at these levels. That the inefficiency in this market, if we come over here to the daily, the inefficiency, look how quick these candles moved up. There's no volume. We showed this last week. This tells me, oh, sorry, it's right here. These candles right here. There's no volume. This tells me that if we do, and I broke this down on the morning Turbo TA session. By the way, we just had 400 people just roll in the room. I just want to shout out, make sure on this video, look down below. If your thing does not say subscribed, hit subscribe. Click this little arrow, turn on this all button, because we have members only jumpstart TA private, basically videos, unlisted videos that if you're a member, you get, but also about once a week, sometimes twice a week, I post those and I post them public for the first about 5 to 15 minutes. Depends on how busy I am, but I try to do it 5 minutes, but 5 to 15 minutes. If you have subscribed on and you have notifications on, you'll get notified. You'll see those Turbo TA target setups. They're about 5 to 7 minutes, very quick to get your day started. And all you have to do is turn on your notifications right here and you'll get that. If you're not a member, you'll still see it for about the first 5 minutes. Then I turn it just to unlisted only so members can see it. And again, that's going to be, if you come over here, the notifications will be here in the posts. You see back here, like right here, this was, I never deleted this. This was a private one that I posted on the public page. If your notifications were on, where you would have seen that, but also in the video section, it'll just notify you. So make sure your notifications are on, because guys, this market is getting very tricky right now. And as much as people are trying to feel like this is going to break down, and it very well might, it's leaning more like it might get that washout, that final washout before liftoff. But if this does hold in here and it just doesn't give us that because of the positive sentiment speculation about what might happen, again, it's still a might. When the inauguration happens, January 20th onward, there's a lot of buying pressure that's coming in. We saw that on this candle right here, 15-minute candle. Look at that washout, came right back up. Didn't even close any 15-minute candle below this trend line. So we need to stay smart and vigilant right now. So continuing on, it's not just, why is crypto crashing? I get these messages every day. Kelly, why is Ondo crashing? Kelly, why is Aero crashing? Kelly, why? Look at this. It's not the crypto market. This is the post-election stock market. Is the rally over? S&P 500 is now trading below November 5th levels and has erased $2.5 trillion off the market cap in 4 weeks. Nearly the entire size of the entire crypto ecosystem, the stock market has wiped out in 4 weeks. So does this mean it's over? Well, when we look at this, let's actually look at what's going on. We'll get to this. We'll get to this one in a second. Actually, where is it at? Boom, right over here. Sorry. If we consider what's going on, this is S&P 5 SPX. Look at this, breaking down to the support level, bounced on the support level, came down and cleared all the way through this. What is this support level? And we're going to tell you why this matters to crypto here in just a moment, because when you zoom out, what do we see? Holy moly, that is a pretty goddamn large gap that we had here. This is, look at this, November 5th, the election. Next day, market's bullish, so much so that it gapped up massively. Gaps tend to get filled. Now look at this, came back, tested this, came back, tested this, bounced back up, came back, tested this, bounced back up. And now look at this. We have fully cleared this gap now. In fact, we have a tiny little gap above us. So is this what was needed, or is there a little bit more room to the downside? And the reason why this is important for Bitcoin and crypto is because when we come over here and we look at Bitcoin as it relates to the S&P 500, we can see that, we had this sort of pulling up, price action, boom, popped up to the upside. If the market really does turn into a risk-off narrative, and we do see S&P 500 coming down, and I would say coming down to about this level, about 5,600, 5,700. If the S&P 500 loses this level, that's when I get worried. Why? Because price action tends to move up and comes back to test a previous range high. That would be right here. If the S&P 500 loses that, all eyes are going to be, is now the moment or not for Bitcoin, and AKA then also crypto, for specifically Bitcoin first, being the hedge against the volatility and the risk on, risk off narrative in markets. Does money flow? Does money capital start flowing into Bitcoin because they're seeing, oh, it is a hedge? And that's going to be the determining factor if money flows in while the S&P 500 is breaking down. But more likely than not, unfortunately, we have to realize Bitcoin is not there in the narrative yet. If this breaks down below this level and, we start seeing basically the evaporation of risk appetite in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin starts to break down, then we start to look towards that lower target. Coming back out to, like, let's say the 6 hour, this is that target we'd be looking at coming down here, which is the golden pocket. You see this? I circled it. Golden pocket, 0.618, 0.65. That's a golden pocket from this move right here all the way up. And this is perfectly in line. Look at this, right with, boom, option J, right with the previous range high. And so just like the S&P 500, all that would accomplish is price action broke up. It came back to test previous range high, potential bounce from there. That would be the bearish bullish case, meaning this comes down and this scares people and we get that move from there. It would get very worrisome if price action does come down to this level and loses it and starts trading down like this. But I don't think that's going to happen with how strong the bullish fundamentals are looking into this year, with so many incredible bullish fundamental changes and additions and capital channels and ETFs, and just the narrative is so much stronger than it's ever been. In fact, it's probably the strongest, most asymmetric bet ever, even though the price is where it is now, because there's so much substantiated government discussion, corporate treasury discussion, international, different sovereign nation, strategic Bitcoin reserve discussion. Now is the time. So if the price action is coming down into these regions, I'm going to be moving heaven and earth trying to find opportunity to buy at those levels. But as it stands right now, we're still within this formation. So what does that mean? Continuing on, look, we're still above this level. So we also see this. The inauguration, does he mean it? Are they really crypto focused? Well, another headline this morning, President Trump plans to form a 24-member crypto council to draft laws, build Bitcoin reserve, and clarify regulations. Bullish. This is incredibly bullish. And then we see the new Treasury Treasury SEC himself is the Treasury Secretary himself invested in Bitcoin. He's got between $250,000 and $500,000 in BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. So very bullish, stronger administration towards crypto regulation. And then we see this bullish news at last, actual bullish in terms of the near term. What does this mean? The Fed liquidity bounces back strongly. We want to see this continue. We don't want to, and I'm going to show you what this is, but following the recent end of year Fed liquidity squeeze, AKA money coming out of market at the end of the year, liquidity has now bounced back. Net Federal Reserve liquidity has risen sharply by about $400 billion since January 1st. This is the largest 10-day increase since March 2023. This is what we're talking about right here. Massive, basically federal liquidity, large push up. The problem with this is, although this is a start of something potentially bullish in the very near term for markets, look at where it stopped, right at a bit, basically about a resistance level. And when we come over to the global liquidity, let's go ahead and look at it. The global liquidity is not yet where the hell is global liquidity? Right here. It's not yet indicating a reversal. I mean, we've had some pretty, steep downside. And in fact, this is the most bullish thing I've seen. How the hell is this bullish? Because we're seeing, let me zoom in on this. We've seen in this decline a massive spike in Bitcoin. So there's sort of one of two narratives that may play out here. One's super bullish, one's more bearish than you want to admit. And that is this about to catch up with this because liquidity is coming out? Are we about to have a pretty big pullback? The other argument could be, look at the strength of this with the liquidity coming out of global markets. If price action holds here regionally, and this might sound weird, by regionally, I mean anywhere above $75,000. If Bitcoin has any pullback and it's holding above $75,000 and we get a reversal in global liquidity and this starts ticking up, then that is going to be moonshot bullish. I want to see everybody drop your bull emojis in. If you're a BitLab member, drop the boom emojis, drop the bull emojis, that's going to be what we want to see. And based on what we've seen on the historical trends, not just what does this chart say, the historical trends of the global liquidity cycle and the Chinese liquidity cycle, especially after China's had $18 trillion leave the economy, evaporate out of the economy since 2021, I do think that it's more likely than not they have to kick the can down the road. And as much as we say we don't want money printing, if you're in markets, you want money printing because that's where you capture that money printing. Now, on the global scale, money printing is terrible. It completely screws the majority of people because the majority of people don't invest. But we're here, we're investing. And so in a way, it's kind of like, okay, as an investor, it's like, I want to capture that liquidity. So morally, I think global money printing is wrong. But because I'm aware that they're more likely to continue money printing, I invest to capture that basically capital explosion into risk markets. So understand that and you will be way better off than, 99% of the world. You can continue on in this thread. There's a lot of stuff in here. Seeing, guys, what's coming. This is that FUD that messes everybody up. And then we see this Bitcoin. Just be lucky we don't have to chop for 7 months this time. But these 2 to 3 months of chop will capitulate a lot of people. And this is what we're talking about. This sort of pattern that we may be coming into may go all the way into February. Everybody's so, when you think about quarter one being bullish, it doesn't mean all of quarter one is up only. You could have a down January. You could have a down February and have an absolute moonshot in March and end with a massively upside Q1. We saw this here. Look at this. Downside from March all the way. This was I don't think we're going to get this 7 month, but all the way here. And then boom, in the matter of, very short period of time from September 6th to here, we ate all of this up. And in fact, from the high of the point that we broke down from that high, we had still a 50% increase. From the low, we had a, let's measure it out. From the low, we had a 120% increase. So with this small, like even if this chops all the way, I mean, look at this, all the way January, I'm looking at the date at the bottom, all the way into February, middle of February, and we get the breakout there, well, then let's look at that. Let's measure kind of conservatively here. If that were the case, that would suggest that the next move out of that could take us all the way up here to $150,000. And we're worried about these moves in here, or guys, let's see the data and stop being so focused on the price today. It's not up today. Good. That means it's still providing opportunity. So continuing on, we also see that a big move is coming. Unfortunately, this does not indicate up or down. 3-day Bollinger Bands, tight. It's tight as they've been. Basically, look at this. This is down here. This is the measurement of the width between these. And we see that we're kind of at the same measurement of width, and you can see it visually here, that width. When you're getting a constriction, a consolidation of price action, the volatility diminishes. This is showing that volatility diminished. When volatility constricts like that, then this happens cyclically, then you tend to get a large move after it. In this case, we had a large move up. I still want to lean, and I am still leaning, but it's instead of being 80%, I'm more like 65% likelihood of this exploding to the upside. But there's so much bullishness in terms of all the fundamentals that people are expecting. It wouldn't surprise me if we did get a washout down before we got that move to the upside, because volatility is so low. The next move is a large explosion in volatility. Now, volatility could mean an explosive move down before up, or an explosive move up, have a reset and then continuation. So we just need to be prepared right now. And, even more so, Tom Lee, what did Tom Lee say about this?
What is the movement in Bitcoin say to you? So we're at 91,000. What is that? What is that a signal or a sign of anything in this sort of analysis?
Stupid Fed.
Yeah.
It's not cutting.
Yeah, Bitcoin's down roughly 15% from its highs, which for a hypervolatile asset is a pretty normal correction, and it is slightly following global liquidity, but we're pretty early in this halving cycle. So to me, I think Bitcoin in the near term, again, our technician thinks 70,000 is where we can sort of make a stand. Means you're getting a big opportunity, because I think Bitcoin's going to be one of the best performing assets.
So hold on, but you still think it goes all the way down to 70,000, or you think that's the floor, in which case you would still buy at this price?
Yeah, so there's Fibonacci's. So one level would be 70.
Let's say that again.
There's retracement levels. So you pull back from where you rallied.
Right.
So 70 is one level. It could go to as low as the 50s. But that's, again, not a new level. It's just where it touches before it begins to rally.
Okay, let me ask you a different question. For those folks who are watching who are not in Bitcoin or are thinking about buying Bitcoin at these prices, are you saying that this is a fair and good price to get in, or are you saying wait because you think it's going farther down?
Bitcoin is something you need to be long-term focused. I don't think anyone's going to lose money buying here at 90. If they're trying to time this, maybe they'll get lucky and it goes to 70. But to me, Bitcoin could be significantly higher this year, maybe 200, 250. So I think 90 is still a good entry point.
And his calls like this, where he's talked about where markets could go, he's been one of the more accurate people calling where the market could go. I don't think 50's in the cards. I don't think 70's even in the cards. I'd say like 3 to 7%. 77, 74, definitely in the cards, like a higher likelihood. But I think the highest likelihood is somewhere in the 87, 86 range. Pretty strong bounce and continuation of the upside. The problem right now is there's no telling. We saw November 6th. No, we saw as soon as November 6th happened, and this is right here, I think. November 5th, look at this. I'm looking at the bottom for the dates. November 5th right here. And look at November 6th. 1 day candle was a $6,000 move, and by the end, look at this. That's still November 13th. $25,000 move by November 14th. So 8 days. And then all the way over here, you see by just 1 month, a $35,000 move. this market, when we get the explosive moves happen, they happen so instantaneously, and a lot of people are going to get caught on the wrong side. Based on where we're at in the market, I'm looking for dip buying opportunities. I'm not selling hoping it goes lower, and I'm going to buy in lower. You got to do what you're going to do. And if you're overexposed because your rent money's on this, then maybe you need to hedge yourself a little bit. But you also need to change your strategy if that's what you're doing. But we're seeing right now that there's a possibility here with this doji candle. This is a 6-hour candle. There's a possibility we hold here because this is, it's breaking down. This is a potential reversal candle. Maybe we get a push up. But until we even clear $96,000, anything on this bounce would just be basically a dead cat bounce unless we clear all of this chop here. So there's a very real possibility this pushes up. People are going to go long, and then it comes down and just goes something like this. We need to let every move sort of play itself out while we are in this range, especially between now and January 20th. Furthermore, continuing on, we've seen this before, and I've pointed this out. This is 2020. We saw the big move up. Let me make this smaller. You see the big move up, breakdown, but it's a higher low, consolidation, launch. This is a very real possibility. And this itself, this fractal, copying these candles and just pasting them here to show how this cycle played out. If we did that, it would come down into that $75,000 range before a potential continuation up if this plays out. So for me, having some limit orders in the $75,000 to $79,000 range wouldn't be a bad idea. Continuing on, we also see right here, Bitcoin, are we living in a simulation? So this is back here, December 2023 into January 2024. Oh God, it's so bullish, a crash into January. Look at this. And then right at the end of January, January 23rd, went below the range, ended up being the spring for liftoff. Well, look at this. If this were to play out as well, this would be basically a further crash down over the next couple of days, almost into the end of the month until we start to break out. What's, 7 days from now, which is, probably about right in this zone, would be that inauguration and potential pump afterwards. So there's a lot of things lining up on the bearish case that just illustrate that we should be prepared if it happens. Not that you need to sell, not that you need to short, just be prepared if it happens, because this has happened the last 2 Januaries following the halving. So 2021 and 2017, this same thing played out. And in addition to the halving years, this also happened last year with, that basically end of the year sort of sell off into January, find the footing, get people convicted short, which we see by the funding rates. Basically, it costs more money to take a short now than it does a long, meaning the majority of people are shorting. Most people get wrecked. So if the majority of people are shorting, then it's probably the contrary view right now. The smarter thing potentially is being a little bit more patient and holding that long. We got 893 people in the room right now. Shout out to each and every one of you that is here. Again, make sure I do post stuff for members only. I do post it to the public sometimes for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. For those of you that have your notifications that are on, for instance, right here, if you're watching the video, coming down below the video, look, I want you to see, does it say subscribed? Do you click this button? Does it have this white thing all notified? If your notifications are on, you're going to get some Easter eggs here and there. So shout out to everybody. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing and hitting that bell. Now, continuing on, we got a couple more charts that we got to go through. Bitcoin is going to dump massively, but wait, look at this impressive bear trap fractal. Boom, back here. Oh my God, it's going to dump. Broke down below the band. Also, boom, then launched. Similar thing we're kind of seeing right now. I still am of the opinion that we're going to see a larger trap than we are going to see just a breakdown, come down, lose 75. In fact, I'd still put 75, 76, that sort of range. I still put it at a smaller probability than having a little bit of a washout here that doesn't quite get it. Basically into that 85 range, V-shaped recovery and launch out of it. Now, continuing on, what else we see? Here's another one. Bitcoin dumping in January is nothing new in post-halving years, according to this analyst. Not only that, this January, boom, and then launch. Boom, and then launch. Boom. In each one of these, roughly about 130% move. That would put us up here in that, $130,000 range by March, let alone somewhere later in the year, likely about over $200,000. So we're getting so caught up in the weeds of this frustration right now because we're looking in our alts. It's all our alts that are really bothering us. But then we remind ourselves Bitcoin is perfectly on track with the 2016, 2017 cycle. Look at this. I mean, this is the red is where we're at now. The orange is where we were at 2016, 2017. So could we get a little bit more dump? Sure. But what happened in all of these orange dump? What happened? The price action was actually forming a parabola to the upside. Guys, if you can't handle this, then you don't deserve the profits. Now, being frustrated with it doesn't mean you can't handle it. Can't handling it means, oh, it breaks down like this and you sell. That's not handling it. If anything, even if the market corrects more deeply, just adjust your time horizon out. And then we see ETH holders. Is it over? Well, there's a $1.4 billion in flows off of exchange into cold storage. This is something we'd like to see. It's a bullish indication. And then we can see this on the altcoins. Look at this. It broke out of this zone and currently is only testing it. This is not the end of the world, everybody. So let's go ahead and do some TA here to wrap up. I do see we got a super chat from Mvino. Hey, Kelly. Thanks, Kelly. Have you had a minute to reach out to the winners, arguments? Oh, yeah. At the beginning of the stream, I said I got a little bit of a backlog of those because it just gets rough going to the post office for one thing. So I kind of let a week or two pass. I got shirts. I got Arculus. I've got a bunch going out. In fact, today, let's do a giveaway today as well. I think I have one shirt left I can give away. So everybody, if you want to, I'll show you the shirt. This is a shirt. I designed this in the middle of December. And this is, you can see, there's a deal on there. It says, where is it? Right there. It says, what does it say? Proud to be cash poor, for the people, by the people, is a Bitcoin with all the world flags and stuff on it. And then on the back, it says, stack like your future depends on it. And in the background, that color in the background, that's actually the national debt, basically kind of masked in to it. That's where it's on the right here. It's like 10 trillion, 20 trillion, 30 trillion. So I will give away one of these and an Arculus today. All you have to do to enter is head over to the @KellyKellam page or @Academy BitLab. I'll share it in the live chat here. If you're on Twitter, all you need to do is, if this is main screen, all you need to do is, exit out of this. So go back and just hit this retweet, hit this like button. That's how you enter. We will draw at the end. I need two numbers. I want a number between 7 and 14. Just two numbers between 7 and 14. That's what we'll use to pick the winners, and we'll do some random math to figure out who's going to get it. And I will share this in the live chat here. And thank you for the super chat, Mvino. Josh Dallas, yeah, you're one of the winners from last week. You'll be getting your stuff as well. And Tater, you're getting one. There's quite a few people. So everybody head over there, hit that retweet, get in there. You'll be entered to win. We'll draw in about 10 minutes. And everybody, let's see. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Now let's look at what's going on. We talked a lot about Bitcoin. And also look at this. This is wild. Can you please shed some light on this? When does the SPX fill the gap it created with election results? This was November. This gentleman said January 13th. What's today? January 13th. And that is what I brought up earlier. This is that gap they're talking about. And look, we are on January 13th and it had come down and completely filled this gap. The question is going to be, does this move a little bit lower? And on that chart I was talking about, this is that level right here, about 56. Ooh, look at that devil's number, 5666, right in this zone, 5670. If this comes down and does not bounce here and loses it, this is when we get a little bit more bearish on the risk narrative. Does that mean we're going to get a bigger pullback in Bitcoin? As it stands right now, I think this has a good possibility to either bounce here or even coming down in here. I still am leaning towards a bullish narrative in the markets. But coming over, looking back at the total chart here, looking a bit bearish here. Let's go ahead, go like this. So now we got these 2 points, bounce, and this is, look at this intersection of this horizontal level of support, diagonal level of support. If this is lost, I think this we're going to see a pretty big spill. But let's look at what is going on, because XRP still looking incredibly strong. Look how strong this is in this market. Let me go ahead and make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. Okay, just Invino. Okay, cool. Thank you for the super chat, Invino. I mean, look at this. This is still incredibly bullish. If this can hold in this zone and not drop below $1.95, I mean, we go a little lower, $1.88. Then I think that I think this is setting up for another major leg. Remember, this was suppressed for almost 3 years. And now I think there's also some corporate interests in this as well because of all their ties in with different banks and the global finance, in addition to the major partnership they just had last week with Chainlink. So this is looking fairly bullish. But then you look at other things like Avalanche, losing this trend line. And look at this. I mean, pretty ugly here. Tried to push up, just a bear flag. And so if we measure this out, let's measure this bear flag from basically, we measure this flagpole from how far this fell down from to this little consolidation. Then this is, essentially a little bull flag. You see what I mean? Like that. If you measure this out, this is suggesting that we could be coming down to the 1.618. Look at this. That would be about a $28 Avalanche. I am super bullish on Avalanche this cycle. So if this gives me the opportunity down here, instead of being mad that it's not going up now, I go, you know what? Because I have some money that I'm stacking on the sidelines, then I'm actually as bullish as I am. I'm rooting for this to fall further so I can get some cheap freaking Avalanche. That's how you have a viewpoint in this market if you want to make it in this market. Now, will that happen? Because currently price, look, it's kind of in this range here. See this white dotted line? That's the level of the price currently. So it's kind of bouncing roughly in this area. If we lose this area, the next level down is the 31, which is a 1.382, and this previous range top. The next level below that is right here, which is also all these tops, this 1.618, $28. You see how we do it? If this is able to hold here and it starts pushing up, then we're going to watch for potential resistance at about 35. I'm looking at the price on the right as I move my mouse there. 35.47, which is just like having a relief rally into these lows. If it can't clear that, then it's, relief rally up and then probably continuation down. So we got signals out here. We just have to pay attention to them. Look at Cardano, actually looking rather bullish as well. Yes, bearish because it's been breaking down, broke down, but it's holding at this level that we've had on the chart for some time. If this can even push down a little bit lower, down to about 79 cents, I think this is setting up probably for a pretty large move as well. We got to see what happens in the next, I would say, 1 to 3 weeks. Wednesday is a big day. We have the CPI data. We don't care about that. Kelly, we focused on crypto to get away from all that other economy stuff. But if the CPI data comes in hot again and there's inflation ticking up, consumer price index, if that's ticking up, that gives less incentive for the Fed to cut rates in the next FOMC meeting, potentially even this year. Because if they cut rates, then that leads to, could lead to more spending. More spending leads to more demand for stuff, which leads to, more sticky inflation and maybe inflation being persistent. They're trying to get inflation down. So it's kind of this weird battle right now with ultimate bullishness in the crypto market, while at the same time, a little bit of pessimism and fear, because there's a lot of traditional investor type people now that are in Bitcoin that are trading with legacy models, using what's going on with the economy, like Bitcoin's a risk asset. So there's a very contentious, most bullish setup we've ever seen in terms of the long term, but in the near term, we could see a little bit more chop than people are expecting. But then you zoom out and all those things that I just showed you, I outlined with the previous cycles, and it shows that price action's just doing what it's done before. So are we just creating confusing narratives in our own mind because we're trying to explain the dump? Let's get out of the price action we're looking at and just realize if we believe in these assets, maybe we have to wait a little longer than we wanted, but those explosive moves are coming. Coming back to the charts before we wrap out, we got Ondo. Oh my God, breaking down, but then at the same time, extend this trend line out. Look at that. It's just bouncing, traveling further down, much like I talked about earlier on in the show with the other chart, breaking down, but still holding support. It's just a very sharp angled down level of support, but it is holding support. So coming back to Ondo, remember we have the unlock. What about the unlock, Kelly? The unlock is an unlock over like 3 years. In my mind, it's kind of a non-event other than the speculative nature of it. But Ondo, look, come down, bounce. If we cannot get beyond this level right here, no, I mean, it's nothing. Now, this is a bit of a falling channel, but then the next level right above us is all these range lows right here at $1.33, $1.31, this sort of range. So we got to be a little, I would say, cautious between now and a week from now, which is next Monday, the inauguration. But I would even say through probably halfway through next week. We got to be a little cautious of what's going on in this market. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Aerodrome also, look at that, giving us the price action. Came down to the dollar level that we called up here. Didn't feel like it was going to happen, but look at the target of this. Remember, this is a target. Boom. Target actually comes quite a bit lower, all the way down here to 73 cents. Will we get it? I got money on the sideline that I'm waiting to stack in. I kind of hope it does happen. But we just need to be cautious right now. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Let's go ahead and do that giveaway. Remember, you got the last chance right now. Head over to the at Kelly Kellam or at BitLab at Academy BitLab. Hit that retweet. Hit that like button. Did we get those numbers? Let's see what those two numbers were. I'm scrolling back. I'm trying to find the first one. Okay, 2 is not a number because I said 7 and 14. 12 and 10. Those are the two numbers. 12 and 10. So we'll just add those together. It's 22. So let's go ahead, come over here, view engagement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Chris Pfaff, you got the shirt, my man. Long time viewer on the channel, friend of the channel. So you got one coming your way. Chris, send me a DM with your address. I'm already following you, so make sure you're sending it to me because there's a lot of fake profiles out there. Big love. You get an Oculus and a shirt. So big love to everybody out there. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's head over to Blockchain Basement now. Show some love. Yeah, it's already set up. So we'll see you there. Adios. Take advantage of these dips while they're here. You're going to be punching yourself in the neck in 4 months going, why was I scared? That's all I got, everybody. Adios.